Hey there everyone, it is I, Bulbagarden's multimedia executive, magnificent entertainer, and I'm here with several wonderful panelists. Before we get into today's topic, I'll let them introduce themselves, starting with Deanne.
Hi guys.
And Glik.
Hello.
And Guzma.
Yo, T-boy.
As always. And lastly, LG.
Woo, we back, baby.
Yes, we are. It has been a little while, but now we are back on schedule. Anyway, today's topic is a very timely one, given that we know that the Gen 8 Pokemon games should be released sometime this year. So we've gathered here this fine evening, or in LG's case, morning, to discuss our hopes and speculations for the upcoming games. I should clarify that this is our own personal wish lists and speculation, and not based on any concrete leaks or information that we've already been given. With that out of the way, let's move on to our first question. Question number 1 is, are you looking forward to the release of the new Pokemon games? LG?
Yes. Like, despite my less enthusiastic reaction to the last two games, like, Let's Go, I can just accept wasn't made for me, and Ultra Sun and Moon's only real problem was just being released too soon, and it was otherwise a decent game. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have learned to temper my expectations for some things, though.
That's definitely fair. Glik, what about you?
As I skipped the Let's Go games, I'm actually really looking forward to a Pokemon game. Finally having a year off instead of having them release every single year, giving me a hankering for the old style.
All right. Deanne?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Although I was looking forward to Let's Go, and then I sort of stopped playing after a while, so take that as you will.
Fair enough. Guzma, what about you?
Of course I'm. Provided they don't screw things up and make another XY.
Fair enough. As for me, honestly, I'm really not. At least for me, the new games really have a high, if not impossible, threshold that they need to exceed in order for it to be worthwhile for me to purchase them. And the main reason for that is because I don't have a Switch yet. I'll admit I'm a bit jaded after the release of the Let's Go games, but I'm also really not in the mood to spend $300 extra on Pokemon games, especially in the same year that I'm buying a house.
A $400 Pokemon might be just a bit of a problem.
A wee bit excessive, yes. A $400 Lego set, maybe not, but also probably not.
Yeah, you could build your house with that.
Not quite. Anyway, let's before we get on this topic too much. Question number 2: where do you think the new region is going to be based off of? Guzma, we'll start with you on this.
I think it'll be either the UK, but it'll be the UK or China. Maybe.
All right.
You cut off there at the end.
Sorry. I accidentally unplugged.
Okay. Well, until Goose gets his mic in order. Glik, what about you?
Well, the last 3 regions have all been outside Japan, but they've all been like really big tourist destinations. New York City, France, and Hawaii. They're like really popular vacation destinations for Japanese people. So I think they're going to stay in that vein and go to a place where Japanese people are familiar with it. So I think it's going to be like South Korea or maybe China.
Interesting speculation there. Deanne?
I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out.
Okay,
Your backyard.
Yes,
Florida is full of wild animals that can kill you.
Yeah.
Have we actually had a lot of Gator Pokemon? I know that there was the water line in Gen 2, the starter types, Totodile.
And there was Sandile in Gen 5.
That's true, but I forget Crocodile. But other than that, maybe
there's one other one?
Nope, just those two.
Not off the top of my head.
No, there aren't any other crocodilians.
Yeah. Oh, a water grass type, maybe. Could be. Anyway, LG, what about you?
See, I have no clue what I think it's going to be, because I've learned that no one can predict Game Freak when it comes to stuff like that. But I hope it's Australia.
I wonder why.
Now, call it personal bias, but it's a cool place. Got all the desert you could need.
It's very, very hot.
Well, yeah, it's got all the desert you could need for the desert routes. Great Barrier Reef would be an awesome dive zone. It's got the tropics up top. Plenty of potential for super deadly Pokemon designs.
Plenty of good bug types.
Regional dog could be like a dingo or something.
Which will eat baby bird. Pokemon.
The regional bird could be a bin chicken.
Or a Nemu.
See, Glik gets it.
Or a cassowary.
You call them chokes.
That would be the pseudo-legendary.
True.
Like, yeah. Australia, great region.
I'll actually second you on that one, LG. I'm not sure, I'm not going to bother trying to predict where it's going to be, but I also would love to see a region based on Australia. Failing that, I would also not mind seeing a region based on the UK, because I really think that a dungeon based on Stonehenge would be interesting, or a Clock Tower gym based on Big Ben. Now, on a similar vein to LG wanting an Australia-based region, I think this should come to the surprise of no one, is I really would like a Chicago-based region, but I do acknowledge that that's a long shot and definitely my regional bias flaring up.
So it can be covered in snow for half the year?
Yes, the Chicago deep dish Pokemon.
So it can be covered in snow for half the year?
Funnily enough, Evie made the same joke, DN. She said there's not enough ice types.
Would the legendaries be a bull and a bear?
Could be. Or it could just be a pair of white socks, but who knows? All right. Getting back to a more serious note. I shouldn't say obviously, but most likely the starter types are still going to be grass, fire, and water types. What secondary types do you hope that they will have? We'll start with LG on this one.
Firefighting? Grass fighting?
No. No. Bad.
Okay, so seriously though, I don't really care what they have. I really want from them is the fire type that finally kills the fire zodiac theory for good. People don't get that a fox is not a dog and an echidna isn't a mouse. So, just something completely unrelated, like thing.
Fire kangaroo.
About it, a fire type moose with flaming antlers actually sounds really cool.
Oh, so like Flame Stag from Mega Man X.
Only if we get a Canada region.
If it's an Australia region, it'll be a firefighting kangaroo that boxes.
Or a drop
Yes.
I could believe that. All right. Glik, what about you?
I want them to do the triangle like they did in Gen 5. So I want water fighting.
It wasn't Gen 5.
It wasn't Gen 5.
There's never been
they all
Gen
have single
6.
types.
Never been an inverse triangle, because Gen 6 was water dark, grass fighting, fire psychic.
Well, they got close.
Yeah, just reverse the order.
Yeah.
Two of them. Flip two of them.
I think the only other triangle they can actually do is fighting, rock, flying.
I
Yeah.
believe you're right, something like that.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting, and it's definitely something that crossed my mind, is having Pokemon with dual types, where the primary types are super effective against, the fire type is super effective against the grass, but the grass has, its subtype is super effective against against the fire types. That would be interesting. Um, Definitely. Guzma, what
Yes.
about you? And don't say all bug types.
Oh, I'd actually like a fire fairy unique type combination. Fire type to be part fairy. Grass, I don't know, maybe grass dark. Water fighting or water ghost. Maybe grass steel would also be good.
Yeah, grass steel is definitely an uncommon combination now. I think only the Ferrothorn fans got that.
But
Hmm?
fire would kick its butt.
Yeah, well,
Alternatively, grass rock would be good for a physical attacker.
could work. DN, what about you?
I'd like something to be part ghost. I know Rowlet's Final Evil is part ghost, but I don't think it really fit. Like, it didn't look particularly ghost-like to me.
I agree that they stuck with the grass flying type for that line. In fact, one of the reasons that the Rowlet line isn't literally my favorite of all time is because of its final evolution. Don't get me wrong. I do love the pun that they did, going from a bow tie to a bow and arrow. But it did not feel like a grass ghost type to me. It felt more like either a grass flying or maybe a grass ground.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. They kind of the ghost typing there definitely felt forced. All right,
But yeah, more ghosts.
ghost is good. As for me, I definitely have to say I would love to see a fire steel type starter. Because I believe up till now, only Heatran had a particular type combination. One thing I'd love to see that we haven't seen yet is a sub-electric type for grass. Grass electric could be interesting.
You mean like
Uh,
Smogon's latest creative Pokemon?
I don't think I've seen that actually, but if it was grass electric, that would certainly be
It was.
okay. Yeah,
And it
didn't
was a
see it.
starter.
Well, then somebody's reading my mind.
Me, when did you join Smogon?
I never did. Anyway, as far as the water type goes, water poison would be interesting. I know we've had a few of those, but we've never had one that's a starter type. So that's something. And really, all in all, I don't care, just as long as we don't get another firefighting type. So LG, no, bad.
Water poison would work for a platypus, another Australian creature.
It would? Yeah. So, yeah, water poison type then.
Or a cone snail.
Ugh, those things are creepy.
I still want a cone snail Pokemon.
You still want what?
A cone snail Pokemon. Partly because they're creepy.
Of course. All right, moving on to our fourth question. Now that Game Freak has tried something new with Trials, do you think they'll go back to Pokemon gyms? Or do you think they'll continue with Trials or try something else entirely? We'll start with Glik on this one.
Nah, they're definitely going back to gyms. Trials were, pointless? They were so easy, they were kind of pointless. And half of to a gym battle anyways.
Yep.
It really felt like something that was specifically for Alola because of the culture they had created for it.
Yep.
Guzma, I'm assuming that you're going to echo what Glik said.
Pretty much, yeah. And I want to see what new badges we hopefully a dark.
Yes, they have not had a dark type gym yet, and that's quite a shame.
Yeah, it's kind of strange they don't have the evil type.
LG?
I gonna agree with Glick and Goose, because, like, to be designed great, a lot of the challenges felt kind of pointless, even.
Yeah, like go collect these 3 plant things that are all right next to each other.
Swim towards the wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Observe the dance.
Yeah.
Observe the
Fine.
dancing Marowak.
Just
But the
notice the
dancing
difference.
Marowak were cool. Actually, no, they weren't. They were fire types.
Ha 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 ha.
Well, that got a more heated reaction than I was anticipating.
Stop.
All right. I'll stop before I'm truly on fire. Dien, what about you?
I'd honestly like to have like a happy medium between the two. Like maybe make those trainers that are in the trials. So do different things like the pictures you guys were talking about in Kiawe's trial or the fetch ingredients, but then at the end be like a normal gym leader fight.
So just make the totem Pokemon an actual trainer.
But with like an actual team, not just totem whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. I think we're all pretty much in agreement here because what I wrote down was essentially exactly what Glick said. Again, they even with the trials, they really did seem at loath to get rid of the whole Elite Four and Champion thing anyway. So just going back to how it was with the gyms seems like. I mean, they've sold 6 generations worth of Pokemon games using just the same formula with the 8 gyms, 4, and the champion, and it worked. I did appreciate them trying something different with the trials, but I did find them to be pretty laughably easy, especially, maybe this was just a game difficulty thing in general, but, the fact that you have the water trial first on the second island. You have the water trial first, and I believe they give you.
Then fire, then grass.
Yeah, then fire. So you have a water dungeon where you can capture a good water Pokemon to attack that fire type totem Pokemon with. Then you got a good fire dungeon where you can capture a good fire type to destroy the grass totem type. The one that you might have difficulty with would be the water one, but I feel like they gave you a powerful grass or a powerful electric type TM shortly before that. And I know
They did.
that I know that they gave you the Brick Break TM right before the normal trial on the first island. So, it's like they weren't even trying as far as difficulty goes, especially giving you that Brick Break TM with the moon trial. With which is a dark, a normal dark type, which is quad weak to it. So, again, I'd love to have a little bit more difficulty, and I feel like the gyms provide a bit more difficulty than the trials do. Maybe that's just me, but I also do think really that they're going to go back to the gyms.
Yeah, you said about the Elite Four, how they just put the Elite Four in again. Like, the Pokemon format doesn't really allow for any other sort of final boss.
It really doesn't, and gyms felt more like a stepping stone towards that than the trials did.
Yeah, the way I play Pokemon games is I do gyms in one run. Like, I don't walk out and heal my Pokemon again. I get the items I need, and then I do it in one run. And if I die, I start over again.
Yes, I mean that's a way to do it. Definitely.
I do that for the Elite Four and Champion.
You mean when you're not allowed to go back and heal your Pokemon?
No, I don't save between
Oh,
I mean, I was going to say I don't think you're quite allowed to go back to a Pokemon Center in between the Elite Four members, but maybe I was misremembering.
Gen 5, I think, couldn't you do that?
No, you
No?
could not. Gen 5 was Gen 5. You can choose them in any order, but you can't go out of the building until your trial is until your I say your trial until your Elite Four challenge is done. Trust me, Glick. I just played Black again. All right, let's move on to our next question then. So, Gen 6 introduced Mega Evolutions and Gen 7 introduced Z moves along with Alola forms. What gimmicks do you think that this particular generation is going to introduce? We'll start with Dien on this one.
I honestly have no clue, but I like Mega Evos and the Z moves, so I'm eager to see what they come up with next. I do hope that they do like regional variants for other non-Kanto Pokemon, though.
Yeah, right.
Yes, that would be nice. All right. LG, what about you?
Return of Mega Evolution to the front of the stage.
Okay. Yeah, it did kind of get side shunted in Gen 7, just a little.
I just really think they did a better job at making Pokemon better than Z moves did. Like Mega Beedrill and Mega Pidgeot just wouldn't do for them what their Megas did.
I mean, my biggest problem with Mega Evolution is the fact that they gave it to a lot of Pokemon that were already overpowered to begin with, and left some of the ones that could have used the Mega Evolution out in the cold. But
that is also true.
I mean, why did Garchomp need a Mega Evolution?
It didn't.
Why did Blaziken need a Mega? Well, that's because Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out, but that's beside the point. I would argue Metagross did need a Mega Evolution, but I'm biased there.
But did Charizard need 2?
Yes.
No, it
because
needed
it's
3.
Charizard.
Oh, right. It did. No, it needed 3, an X, a Y, and a Z. And Mewtwo needed 3 also. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
No, Mewtwo needed an evolution into Mew 3. And then 2 more Mega Evolutions for that.
Do we ever think we're going to get a Mew 3? Probably not.
Hopefully
I'd
not.
say probably not.
That's not an official question, by the way. All right. Guzma, did we get to you yet?
No, but I can't really think of any potential gimmicks. Like, got super moves, super modes. I don't know, maybe... I honestly don't know. I'd like to see more evolutions. Give them to Pokemon that actually need them.
Yes. Yes. All right, Glick, what about you?
Like, the only thing I could even think of is, like, having some sort of, like, support Pokemon that, like, boosts something or something. Like, it's not like a double battle where it's actually in the fight. It's just, like, off to the side, being a cheerleader or something.
So, Oricorio cheerleader form, except in battle without being in battle.
Yeah, I guess. Like,
I mean,
like you said, they've done super moves and super forms. The battle mechanics don't really have any more depth beyond that.
I mean, that would make a lot more Pokemon, possibly like Alomola or, Plusle and Minun more viable if you could actually have one in a quote-unquote secondary slot that's not actually battling.
Yeah. Or
definitely.
They introduce some sort of fancy terrain mechanic now that they're on the Switch and they've got more processing power.
They did have some kind of... They had a very, very basic terrain mechanic in X and Y, so they might expound that.
I mean, aside from just the terrain moves.
Yeah, I think using certain moves like Razor Leaf or having, things in the background like trees and stuff that if you actually attacked it, I think it gave you items. if I'm remembering correctly, because I really didn't play through X and Y all that much.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. Maybe expanding on that, or, maybe giving Pokemon a boost in specific terrains. So, like, electric types or steel types gain a boost in like a power plant, and rock, and but then that's kind of like weather. I don't know. Maybe they'll expand weather. Electrical storms.
Back to the weather meta.
Anyway, I think that's all of you, because I started with the end this time. All right, so I guess as for me, I don't know if this is a particular gimmick, but I'm really hoping that we finally see multi-type moves happen. I was very optimistic when the move Flying Press showed up and is essentially treated as a fire flying type move, fighting flying type move, and I do hope that we see more of those, and that the moves actually can have both types, because Flying Press was effectively treated as a fighting type move as far as stab went and as far as the actual move went. So that's something I've been hoping for a while. I've been consistently disappointed, but maybe changing to the Switch will make it easier for this to happen. Who knows? Yeah, that's. I don't know if that's a gimmick or if that's just something, a game improvement. That's what I'd like to see ideally. I guess
put in here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think? Does anybody think they're actually going to bring Z moves back at all?
Now that they've been in once, I can't see them getting rid of them.
But on the other hand, Mega...
They might not focus on...
They'll probably do to Z moves what they did to Mega Evolutions in Gen 7, which is they're in the game, but they're very extremely sidelined. And that seems to be a recurring a recurring thing for Pokemon games. So I guess I did only mention Gen 6 and 7 as far as gimmicks go, but you had the gender differences show up in Gen 4, and then in Gen 5 maybe one Pokemon, maybe two Pokemon in the Unova decks even had gen differences or gender differences, and that was the Unpheasant family. And then Gen 5 introduced what did Gen 5 introduce?
Triple battles,
triple battles, and rotation.
Good
battles.
story.
Boo this man.
Good bug types.
Good bug type showed up in Gen 7.
Yes, they didn't show up in Gen 6.
No, but I mean, as far as mechanics go, so Gen 5, yeah, triple battles and rotation battles are like completely gone. And Gen 6 introduced Mega Evolutions, and those got sidelined horribly in Gen 7. So it's quite possible they'll have Z moves, but they'll be extraordinarily sidelined. Yeah. But they'd have to come up with some way of giving you the Z crystals that's not a trial. I'm sure they'll think of something.
Just
it's like
after you beat the game.
It's like Dexio and Cena giving you the keystone. It's just like, I don't know, Kukui shows up in the post game and just hands you every single Z crystal at once.
That would actually be very disappointing.
I hope you have
things
pockets.
are important. These things are important to our culture and stuff, but whatever, here you go.
Yeah, here. If you were in Alola, you'd actually have to go around collecting these, but because you're not, here you go.
The sad part is I can see this happening.
It could very well, and I guess one of the things that's disappointed me is not so much things like that, but as far as events and things like that, just give you the legendary. You don't even have to battle it. They make it ridiculously easy. So I could definitely see this being a thing where Kukui just shows up and gives you all of them. As sad as that is. But I think we've gotten a bit sidetracked here, and let's move on to our next question, which is: it's an even numbered generation. Do you think we'll get more evolutions? And if so, what types are you looking forward to the most? We'll start with Guzma on this one, because I can already guess one of the types he wants to see.
It's not bug.
Really?
Shocking twist.
I actually
Oh,
want a
dear.
ghost type.
All right. Do you think we'll actually see any of this, Jen?
I don't. I think Sylveon was like a thing to introduce a fairy type, but we'll see.
Okay. Deanne, what about you?
I hope we get more evolutions because I love them. I have so many evolution plushies. I want to see ghost and dragon type.
Definitely fair. Glick?
Well, with each new evolution, they have to introduce an annoying, convoluted evolution method. So no, I don't want any more. But they
They're so
probably
lazy.
will. So
Stop being lazy.
if I had to choose, I'd say rock and fighting.
All right. LG?
I will always.
Even if we have one of every
Dian and
type?
Guz, if we get one of every type.
Okay.
And I mean, Guz and Dian took my ghost type thing, so I don't know, steel type. I like steel types. That could be cool.
Mhm.
What if instead of new evolutions, they fuse old evolutions together?
No.
I mean, they've done Pokemon fusions in the past in Black 2 and White 2. So that's a thing.
I mean, it's not impossible. Maybe that's their new gimmick.
Oh Lord, I didn't even think of that.
The new gimmick is 3-typed Pokemon, and it's a fusion of Vaporeon, Flareon, and Jolteon.
Or maybe
Finally, the legendary bird fusion from Adventures is canon.
that would certainly be something.
Yeah.
I guess as for me, I really am hoping for more evolutions. Like Glick says, it does seem like with every new set of evolutions, they have to come up with a convoluted evolution method. Even when, in the case of Pokemon like Leafeon, it would have just been, a simple Leaf Stone could have done the job. Or for Espeon and Umbreon, a Sunstone and a Moon. I mean, they introduced the Sunstone in Gen 2, so it could have worked.
Yeah, they
But-
were going to make Umbreon poison, and introduce the poison stuff.
But I really do hope that we get evolutions for all types, or if not all types, then all types except for normal. But the ones that I really would like to see more than the others at this point, Steel definitely is one of my favorite types. Ghost would be fascinating. If Guzma's not going to say it, I'll say it. I'd love to see a bug type evolution.
I just don't see how it.
Buggeon.
And perhaps a dragon type evolution called Dragion. Just add an E in there.
Draconia.
No, Dragion. Just put the E in. But yeah, that's my opinion, and yeah, I know that's more than one type. But
Don't you mean put the E on?
Yes, put the E on.
So what's everyone's favorite evolution?
Vaporeon.
Sylveon.
I'll go with Espeon.
My favorite's Charmeleon.
I knew you were going to go with that.
I should have seen that coming.
I almost went with Empoleon. Almost.
Lumineon.
But I didn't want to ruin Glick's joke, because it's very often... Well, it's very often that I make jokes. All right. So that's that. What about... do you think Game Freak will add in any new types or make any other changes to the existing type chart? Or, more accurately, do you want Game Freak to make any changes to the existing type chart? And if so, what do you think those changes will be? We'll start with Deanne on this one.
God, I hope they don't change anything. I have enough things on my mind as it is that I can't keep up with the type chart anyway. I'm a busy person.
A fair and valid view. Glik?
I don't think there's going to be any new types. As for rebalances, fairy seems really weird. Like it doesn't seem to have enough weaknesses for the amount of resistances it has.
Not to mention the outright immunity.
Yeah. Like, why does it resist bug?
Exactly.
That's a good
confusing.
question.
Why does everything resist bug?
Because Game Freak just wants to screw bug over. I mean, Gen 6, they definitely want to screw bug over because all they introduced was Vivian.
Yeah, so maybe a rebalance or two. Going off the theme of bug types, Guzma, what about you?
Make fairy weak to bug. And I don't know, give ice to make it mutually resist water.
Okay. LG?
Off the bugs! Seriously, just make them beat fairies or something. Or just introduce a new type, specifically bugs. Just something to make their attack type relevant.
Yep.
Please.
Half the time, bug doesn't even work against other bugs. They usually have another type that resists it.
It does, yeah. As for me, I really don't think that they'll tweak the type chart any more than they already have. The last couple of times they've added in new types, it's usually to correct a massive imbalance.
Which they have now with fairy.
I suppose that's fair. I don't think they're going to introduce... Yes. Yes. I don't think they're going to add in a new type to fix that, because I feel like that would just complicate the issue even further. The thing that I do like about Fairy is that it does take Steel and make it slightly more viable as an offensive type.
Yeah,
but
same with Poison.
And yeah, definitely the same with Poison. But what I don't like about it is, in exchange for being super effective against Fairy, Steel lost 2 resistances. And the loss of the I can understand the loss of the resistance to Ghost. I never really understood why Steel resisted Ghost in the first place. But the loss of the Steel's resistance to Dark type never sat well with me. I mean, if you think about it, and maybe this is just an in-game flavor kind of thing.
Or it's Metagross.
Well, okay, fine. Maybe there's a little bias now because Metagross has 2 weaknesses that it didn't used to have. But, I mean, think about it for just a moment now. What they're saying is, bite Steel. It's not going to hurt. If you put a piece
legit.
of... If you put a piece of steel in your mouth and tried to bite it, you're fake. That sounds more like something that should be resisted than even normally effective.
Yeah, but fighting is super effective, and a lot of that is just punching it or headbutting it or something.
That brings me to my next point, Mr. Glik. That brings me to my very next point, which is it never sat well with me that Steel was weak to fighting, because it really shouldn't be. If you punch a metal wall, guess what's going to break? I'll give you a hint. It's not the metal wall.
But it's for the superhero Pokemon. Superman can punch a wall.
He's Superman.
Yeah. The fighting type is the superhero type.
So can Hulk and a lot of other fighting is super strong.
Fighting is super, but if we take it to the point where every type is essentially what it says, which is fighting, which is, that's karate, that's martial arts, that's thing, but except to a higher level, then you'd think that the metal that Pokemon are made of is more durable than the metal that we make, walls out of or appliances out of or things of that nature. Besides which, it always feels weird to me that Steel is not super effective by Psychic. And I understand the original reason, or one of the original reasons, that Steel was introduced was to balance the Psychic type, and having, Steel be another type that was super affected by Psychic would have undermined that. But I think we're well beyond that particular point by now. And, even the in-game item that boosts Psychic type powers is called the Twisted Spoon, which is, the whole thing that Psychics can bend metal with their mind kind of thing. So
they can only bend really shitty metal.
I mean, it still seems more effective than trying to punch a metal to me. But that's just my opinion, and yes, as was mentioned, this is probably at least partially colored by the fact that Metagross is my favorite Pokemon. At least I acknowledge my biases every once in a while. But again, it does. Maybe I'm thinking about this far too much. It wouldn't be the first time. All right. Let's get to our last question, and I think this one is the one that I'm most excited to hear your answers about, which is, what would you love to see out of the Gen 8 games? Which is anything you want, and go nuts. We'll start with Glik on this one.
More fun mini games. I want more.
Why?
Because it's a skating game.
I mean, I'm not
pro surfing.
Gotta lie, Mantine surfing is fun.
Mantine surfing is fun and a very easy way to get BP.
Yeah.
I just use Bank for that, please.
Not all of us are blessed with your patience.
All right, so more fun mini games, definitely a good answer.
Bring back the Pokeathon.
Oh God. Or should I say ORCS?
That's Arceus.
Arceus.
Dr. House pronounces it Arceus, therefore the pronunciation is Arceus.
Well,
I can get behind that.
He's an RC ass.
I should have seen that one coming. I really should have. All right, DN, what about you?
Walking Pokemon. That is all.
I already brought that back.
I know, but I still want to keep it in.
That is true. They can't seem to keep it into 2 consecutive games. Guzma?
A fast, special attacking bug ice type.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Just to slaughter Lander Theory. And also maybe a bug fighting type based on Rider and Grasshopper, same plug. And a bug dark type.
No surprises there.
And a poison steel type.
A poison steel type would be fascinating. It really, like factory, and it's easily done, like factory pollution, or a polluting factory.
Or a Garbo.
Also possible, yes. LG?
Battle Frontier. Battle Frontier.
If they can actually make the gimmicks enjoyable this time.
I liked the gimmicks. The gimmicks were a fun change from just generic battles over and over and over.
Well, most of the battles sucked in Gen 3.
Didn't actually play Gen 3, so.
I was actually about to ask you, LG, are you talking Gen 3 Battle Frontier or Gen 4 Battle Frontier? But yeah,
Gen 4, because that's the one I played.
Yeah. I mean, the arcade was pretty good. I want the slots.
Yeah. Random chance is always fun in Pokemon games.
Boy, you don't let the competitive scene hear you say that. They say, as they insist on using moves such as Thunder, Fire Blast, and Stone Edge.
And Focus Blast.
The classic accuracy versus power question.
You know, if just the battle pyramid with like the size of the battle frontier. I'd be down for that.
I guess as for me, I don't really have any particular Pokemon type combinations or anything of that nature that I'm looking forward to. And like I said earlier, because of my earlier reasoning and not wanting to buy a Switch, I'm really not too invested in these games. If I were to buy them, though, I'd love to see more of Team Rainbow Rocket. And I know they were defeated in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but there really was never an explanation given for how Giovanni somehow has control over time and space now. He went from being just a mafia boss in Gen 1. We saw him doing some kind of side training in an event in Gen 4 during the events of Gold, Silver, or Heart Gold, Soul Silver. But there was never any explanation for him going, all time and spacey. Really, if any villainous team leader from the past was going to do that, it should have been Cyrus.
Diamond and Pearl remakes with tie-in to Rainbow Rocket confirmed.
I would love that, actually. I really, really would. That would, because I've said it numerous times. I think in almost every single Pokemon themed Bulbacast episode I've been in, I've said Platinum is my favorite game. Platinum is also the canonical Sinnoh game, at least as far as Black and White go. And in that particular game was the game that Cyrus controlled both Dialga and Palkia. So, control over both time and space was, or should have been his, and would have been his if it wasn't for a certain meddling giant centipede.
Leave my mother out of
Hit me.
But in any case, that's actually a very good theory, LG. I hadn't thought of that, but I do hope to see Sinnoh remakes in Gen 8, and maybe, just maybe, that would be worth buying the Switch for. That's not going to be this year, and so I won't be buying a house and buying a Switch in the same year.
Yeah, I never really liked the fact that Giovanni was the big bad, because like the thing the Heart Gold and Soul Silver mini event thing, it was supposed to be like he was being reformed, but now he's just back to being megalomaniacal evil man.
And he's still boring.
Hey! Don't take the me initials in vain.
And he's also boring. Like he's always.
And his primary Pokemon is Mewtwo now, which he's never had any connection to.
At least in the games.
I mean, he tried in the movie.
The movie/anime universe and the game universe are different. There's never been any direct connection between Team Rocket and Mewtwo in the games, which, I do like that they finally sort of did that. I mean, I like it. Maybe, other people don't, but I do kind of like that they did that in Rainbow Rocket. But yeah, his main Pokemon being Mewtwo. Mewtwo didn't have control over time and space the last time I checked. I mean, Celebi has control over time, so it made a little more sense. But
and Celebi was part of the Heart Gold and Soul Silver event.
It was. So it could have happened, and it could have potentially been a little bit better. But again, the story is, generally speaking, not one of Pokemon's greatest strengths. So I rather doubt we'll actually see that. I feel like I'm saying. Go ahead.
I still think that gets over Rainbow Rocket. Like, him and Cyrus are the only two really good villains. Not Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Archie and Maxie.
Yeah, no, and I think you and I have had this discussion before about Cyrus and Getsus being, the best Pokemon villains we've gotten. And it's true. Getsus is genuinely terrifying, and Cyrus is literally emotionless and looking to rewrite reality itself.
Yeah. The nicest thing I can say about Cyrus, at least he has nice and Getsus. The guy's just pure evil.
So more villains like that, or Just do another parody evil team like Team Skull, because Team Skull was just hilarious.
They were brilliant.
I'd actually like to see a villain team that takes Team Rocket's profiteering and like a villain team that's a mega corporation that unethical means to make money.
I was just about to say that.
Okay.
Like a white-collar criminal organization.
Would
And they
definitely be something different.
And like the crux of the plot is when they're trying to take a legendary that like provides life energy for the region. If they attack the legendary, like capture it and
See, that could have been a much better Team Flare.
well, yeah, a lot of things been better player.
But now, now we're just talking about older generations. So, I guess, does anybody else have anything to add to this particular question, or any further speculation regarding the Gen 8 games?
Bring back rotation battles.
Okay, bring back rotation battles.
Bring back inverse battle.
Yes.
Would be interesting, yes. Glik?
Stop selling two versions of the same game.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Good
Sell
luck with
4
that.
versions instead.
No. Stop. The only way an actual Platinum remake is going to happen, as opposed to a Diamond and Pearl remake, would be if they actually stopped selling two games that are essentially the same, and I doubt that. It's a shame.
It's so easy. Just have the option to choose which game you want to at the start of the game. So you could still have, like, the regional variants and whatever.
It still wouldn't... I mean, that might allow for a Platinum remake, but we'll see. Yeah. Anything else? All right, I'll take that as a no. So that about wraps things up for this recording. And as always, I really do want to extend a thank you to the panelists for joining me. And I do hope that I was on better behavior and didn't ramble on too much this time. I have been trying. I have been trying to work on that. And on that note, I'm going to sign off here and just say that if you like this episode, please go back and watch the older ones. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you all next time.